Today, I Pragati Sahu, I am going to explain on the topic, the circulatory system. So first we have to know what is circulatory system. It is the system that is present in our body which helps in the transport of various nutrients and various things from one part of the body to the other part. Now, the circulatory system comprises of two types. That is the blood circulatory system and the lymphatic system. Today we are going to study on the topic blood circulatory system. So what is blood circulatory system? In the blood circulatory system, we will study how the blood flows through the blood vessels to different parts of the body. Now, what are the blood vessels? The blood vessels are of three types, that is veins, arteries and capillaries. Now, the veins are those blood vessels which carry the deoxygenated blood from various parts of the body to the heart. Now, in return, the heart pumps the oxygenated blood from itself to the various parts of the body through the arteries. Now these veins and arteries, they together perform the functions of the circulatory system. Now before going into detail, first we have to know where is the heart located. Now heart is located in the middle of the chest in between the lungs. Now we say that our heart is present in the left side. We say it because the heart is slightly tilted towards the left side. And what is the size of the heart? The size of the heart is the size of one's own fist. Now as it varies from person to person, so the size of the heart also varies from person to person. Now the heart is made up of special type of muscle that is called as the cardiac muscle. Now the cardiac muscle is present in the walls of the heart and the septum. The septum is that part which divides the heart into two parts, that is the left and the right one. And the valves that are present in the heart divide the heart into upper and lower one. Now, due to this division, the heart hence total has four chambers. Now, the four chambers are left atria, right atria, left ventricle and right ventricle. As the valves divide the heart crosswise into upper and lower ones, the upper ones are called the atria and the lower ones are called the ventricles. Now the atria are said to be thin muscle and the ventricles are said to be thick muscle. Why is there difference between thin and thick? Because the atria pumps the blood to a shorter distance to the ventricles. So it is thin muscle, but as the ventricle has to pump the blood to the lungs and throughout the body, it is thick muscle. Now, the deoxygenated blood from various parts of the body comes through the superior and inferior vena cava to the heart. Now, the superior vena cava, it collects the blood from the upper part of the body, that is from the head and the arms, and the inferior vena cava collects the deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body, that is the trunk and the legs. Then the arteries are also divided into various branches and are called as coronary arteries. The valves that are present, they also perform a specific function. They help in the unidirectional flow of the blood, means they prevent the backflow of the blood, which helps in the blood to flow in one direction. Now, how the blood circulatory system performs. So, we will come to know in brief. Now, the blood from the superior and inferior vena cava, that is the deoxygenated one, that comes from various parts of the body to the right atrium of the heart. When it comes to the right atrium pumps the blood to the right ventricle. So while pumping, the tricuspid valve opens. This tricuspid valve is present between the right atrium and the right ventricle. When the blood comes to the right ventricle, it again pumps the blood to the lungs. So while pumping the blood to the lungs, the pulmonary semilunar valve opens. So the pulmonary semilunar valve then leads to pulmonary artery. After then the deoxygenated blood from the pulmonary artery goes to the lungs and there it becomes oxygenated. After it becomes oxygenated, the oxygenated blood flows to the left atrium and through the pulmonary veins. So after it reaches the left atrium, it again flows to the left ventricle. So while flowing, the mitral valve that is present between the left atrium and the left ventricle, that opens. So when the blood reaches the left ventricle, again the oxygenated blood is distributed throughout the body through the aorta. When it goes to the aorta, the aortic semilunar valve opens. So this helps in the distribution of oxygenated blood throughout the body. One thing we have to note that aorta is the largest artery in the body. Another thing we have to keep in mind, what is the difference between pulmonary artery and vein? As we know that pulmonary artery carries oxygenated blood and vein carries deoxygenated blood. But pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from heart to the lungs, and pulmonary veins carries oxygenated blood from lungs to the heart. So this is all in total the circulatory system. Thank you.